We spent 12 days on board what some might cheekily call an old person's cruise. There was me, my mum, my husband, two kids, and a lot of guests from the over 70s crowd. It really was a wild mix. So, if you want to see how these worlds collided and if we managed to keep our sanity without upsetting the older folks, then stick around because this cruise was very different to most cruises that we've done with the kids. Fred Olsen Cruise Line typically caters for slightly older cruisers. In fact, when I went on a Fred Olsen cruise by myself last year, I had quite a few people come up to me and say, "Aren't you a little too young for this cruise?" Usually you won't find any children on board, but during the school holidays, Fred Olsen does welcome families with what they call multi-generational cruises. These are mostly aimed at grandparents and their grandchildren. Now, my kids love water slides, rock climbing, and bumper cars on a cruise, so I wasn't sure what they'd make of this cruise at all. Would they be bored? Would they annoy the older guests? I was a little nervous. We were invited on this cruise on a press trip, but all of my opinions are my own. So stay with me and I'll show you what we thought of the onboard experience, the entertainment, the food, and everything else. We cruised on board Boletta, which is a relatively small cruise ship with space for around 1,300 guests. On the big ships, the decks go up as high as deck 20, but on this ship, the highest deck was deck 10. Our cruise started in Southampton, which was very convenient, but what was a little less convenient was our boarding time, which was 9 p.m. until 10 p.m. I don't believe this is a normal thing for Fred Olsen cruises. It happened because the ship picked up some more guests at a different UK port before it got to us. Luckily, boarding was incredibly quick. I've never seen a cruise terminal so empty, and we walked straight on. Usually, when you board a cruise ship, it'll be around lunchtime, and the first thing you'll do is head to one of the restaurants for lunch. But when we boarded this cruise, it was already time for bed. We had a cosy cabin that slept four, and my mum had a similar room just down the hall. Our luggage arrived really quickly. Although it was late, we were too excited to go straight to sleep, so we went off to explore the ship. Usually, when you board a ship, there'll be a lively sail-away party with drinks and live music. But this ship was so quiet and it was very dark. It was such a strange experience. We watched the ship being refueled and then headed to the buffet, but sadly, it was already closed, so we went to bed. In the morning, we had breakfast in the main dining room. It was such a grand room and I wasn't sure how this would go with the children. But I needn't have worried. There was lots on the menu, the waiters were really friendly, and we really enjoyed our breakfast. We were even served sparkling wine with breakfast, which was an unexpected treat. We were assigned a set dining time in the evening of 8:30 p.m. in the main dining room. Now, I know that some people with kids would hate eating that late, but actually, we don't mind it. The alternative was 6:15, and to be honest, at 6:15 in the summer, we're usually still in the pool and definitely not ready to go for dinner. We had the same table assigned to us each night, and whenever it was somebody's birthday or anniversary, all the waiters would sing to them, which was lovely. Unfortunately, the meals did take quite a long time, and so by the time dessert was served, it was after 10 p.m, and poor Adam was asleep in his spaghetti. After a couple of nights of this, we decided that eating in the buffet would be better for us. Usually, I'm not a fan of cruise ship buffets in the evening, but the buffet on Boletta was fantastic. It was quite quiet too, and if our family of fussy eaters wanted something that wasn't there, the chefs did their best to make it for us. For example, I fancied the pad thai from the live cooking station, but it wasn't vegan. I asked if I could have it, and they got a clean pan, they switched the prawns for corn, and the fish sauce for soy sauce and made it vegan for me. On most cruise ships, they just say, no, you can't have it. But on this cruise, the buffet staff really did go above and beyond to accommodate everyone. There was always a good selection of vegan desserts and 3 or 4 flavours of ice cream every day, which the kids were really happy about. Another place that we ate a lot was the poolside cafe. This had lots of options, including a secret vegan burger that's not on the menu. So many cruise lines seem to keep the vegan options secret, and I don't know why. It's so weird. But if you don't ask, you don't get, and it's always worth asking to see what secret items they've got under the counter. There are 2 specialty restaurants as well on Barletta. These are really cheap, just £10 per person if you book in advance, and the food was amazing. And all the restaurants have children's menus too. There is a kids club on board in the school holidays, but it's not open in the evenings, so there are no romantic meals for 2 if you have the kids with you. Luckily, we had Granny to babysit, and the kids even had a sleepover in her cabin one night. Thanks, Mum. If you go to the theatre in the evening, then the kids can go there with the kids club, and all the children get reserved front row seats together, so they get a really good view. The entertainment was fantastic, with a different show on every night. We most enjoyed the crew show, where crew members took to the stage to show off their various talents. The engine room guys with those faces on the bellies were absolutely hilarious. They must have been so hot in those bin bags though. This is the kids club on Barletta. It looks a lot different to kids clubs we've seen on other ships. But there were always fun activities, and the kids often went elsewhere on the ship. So they went whale watching, playing shuffleboard, and they even got to visit the bridge with the kids club. They also learned first aid and CPR, which was brilliant, and they made autograph books and collected signatures from lots of different crew members. Adam played a lot of table tennis, and Leonie spent most of her time in the pool. In the kids club, the kids collected prize points, and on the last day of the cruise, they cashed them in for loads of Fred Olsen swag. They were really pleased with their haul. The pool on Barletta has a retractable roof, which can open or close. I love pools like these on cruise ships because you can always swim whatever the weather. There's also an outdoor pool at the back of the ship, and this is where they have the sail away parties, which are actually really lively. Just below that is a quiet area that I think is the most relaxing spot on the ship. This is a great place to escape and enjoy the wake views. There were plenty of things that we could enjoy together as a family, and we never felt bored on this cruise at all. On our days ashore in the Azores, Spain and Portugal, we enjoyed some fantastic excursions. Our favourites were visiting a pineapple plantation, swimming in the hot springs, and going inside a volcano. The scenery of the Azores is really beautiful, and I definitely recommend you go there on a cruise if you ever have the chance. Being a smaller traditional cruise ship, I really wasn't sure how this cruise would go, but I'm pleased to say that we all had a fantastic time. It was fun and relaxing all at the same time. If you're planning a cruise with your kids and also your parents, and you want to sail from the UK, then Fred Olsen Cruise Lines is a great choice in the school holidays. If you'd like to see my solo cruise on another of Fred Olsen's ships, then watch this video next. Otherwise, stay tuned, and here's a montage of the interior of this quirky ship.